But what we've got to do is keep persevering. We mustn't stop. If one thing farmers are, they're resilient. Always have been. It's a tough job there. We don't ask for much. All we want to do is keep our land intact. It's not much to ask, not when you think about it. Low returns, poor weather, hard work. That's what we're faced with. We don't mind that. In fact, that's what we do. We're used to it. But put that other complication there. If we're worrying about tax when we hand it down to our children, we're not selling out. If we sold out, there'd be capital tax to pay. We don't mind that. All we want to do is pass not only the farm down to our children, but our knowledge. It's so important. And I know you're all with me here. I'm proud of this country. I'm proud of what we do, what we've achieved. And I'm particularly proud of the farming community. They're a resilient lot. There are other groups out there that are equally as resilient, and they deserve credit too. But us farmers, we surely have, we have the ability to feed you if we're allowed to, and that's debatable. Do they want us to be more for the environment or more for food production? Nobody knows. We're in limbo land. Pardon? Bill Gates? Well, yeah, you could probably help. I think, yeah. Anyway, look, I'm going to get off now. I might have a few words later on. So who's on next then, Nick?
Right, we're going to start speeches now, so there's some other people to speak as well. We've got Tom Bradshaw from the NFU. He's going to come up first, if he doesn't mind coming up now. Are you ready, Tom? Oh, no, sorry, Liz is going to come up again. Sorry, we've completely taken over. I do apologise.
Nothing ever goes according to plan. Well, I just want to say a few words from the team at Save British Farming. There are a number of us, and we have all worked very intensively to get this off the ground. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you to the team, and there's many of them. You're all out here, all of you together, because you brought your tractors here, and you're part of the Save British Farming team today. And please give yourself a big round of applause. We've brought tractors to London several times, and every time we've come back, we've got bigger, and we've got louder, and we're not going to go away. And we must be determined that this is a marathon, not a sprint. We are probably not going to get a quick result from Mr. Starmer or Mrs. Reeves because they are dug in. But we understand about resilience and the need for resilience. But we are winning. We're winning the argument. We're in the press and the media every day, and more people are understanding what we need to say to them about their food. So what I want to say to you is stay positive, stay united, stay connected, come on board. We will keep doing this. And you know what? It's jolly good fun. Everyone has a great day out. We even do some singing. But thank you, and I really do want to say a heartfelt thanks to my team. They know who they are. I might drag them onto stage if I can later. But we've had some fraught moments, but we've also had some good moments. And I'm sure we'll be having a few beers later. And now I'm delighted to welcome Tom Bradshaw, President of the National Farmers Union, and enjoy the speeches, guys. Oh, and one more housekeeping thing. When you go home, you have to turn left at the end of Whitehall and either go onto the embankment or over Westminster Bridge. The police have been absolutely amazing. In fact, can we give the police a round of applause? And one more thing, to show that we are quintessentially great British people, please make sure you pick up your rubbish. Don't leave any rubbish. And behave yourselves. And let's be proud. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you so much. I love you all.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much, Liz. I think it would be appropriate to have 3 cheers for Safe British Farming and Liz Webster. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Now here we go again. When we first came to Westminster on the 19th of November, I don't think the government knew what they'd hit them. You came again with your tractors in December, and we're here again today. The message is getting louder. The message is getting clearer. I just hope that the ears are listening, because at the moment they're really not acting. This is the purest form of democracy. A loud and clear demonstration, a legal protest. And I urge all of you to make sure that when you leave here, you do exactly as Liz said. We should never forget how lucky we are in this country to have a democracy. Many people around the world would give their right arm to have a democracy like we do. Those farmers in the Ukraine don't have this moment of opportunity. So let's use our voices. Let's make sure we stand loud and proud, and we make sure that those politicians hear every word that comes from here today. We have a voice, a loud voice. And I think the government are very clear they've woken a sleeping giant. We have to keep the pressure up, and that's what you're all doing here today. And if the government thinks we'll go away, they don't understand you, they don't understand farming, and they don't understand farmers. As Liz has already said, we fight the elements, we fight the markets. All we want is to earn a fair crust from the food we're producing. The challenges are very real. We're not against paying the tax. We'd prefer to pay the tax from the food we produce rather than a death tax, which is simply unaffordable and unacceptable. The sense of betrayal in the industry is one that I've never, ever known. A policy that we were promised would not be introduced. A policy that doesn't do what the government says it does. The Office for Budget Responsibility agree with us. The supermarkets on this occasion agree with us. Even the Observer agrees with us. If the Chancellor is so confident her policy is right, why won't she meet with us to justify the policy? Even the Prime Minister has met. I was able to look him directly in the eye and spell out the awful, inhumane, unacceptable impacts of this policy. Why won't the Chancellor meet? For her, the family farm tax is policy. But for me and for you, it's personal. This week is Yellow Wellies Mind Your Head Week. We all know the untold pressure this is having on our farmers and our farming communities across the country. Can I urge you one more time, on your way home from London, when you're back on your farms tomorrow, pick up that phone to a neighbour that you haven't spoken to for a while, or somebody that you haven't seen. We can't let people suffer in silence. We must be there for each other. As President of the National Farmers Union, representing 70% of English and Welsh farming, I've received hundreds of emails, messages about the impacts of this tax. The human impact of this policy is simply unacceptable. It's also economically unacceptable. Economist after economist has turned against the policy. And let's be very clear here today, 75% of farmers producing this country's food will be impacted by the proposed changes to inheritance tax. That's 75% of businesses that will no longer invest for our future, that won't build the resilience that delivers food security. And when the government are sitting there saying that food security is national security, they're sitting there saying they need economic growth, and they're doing everything they can to stop you investing in the future of your businesses. That is simply wrong. They say the policy is well considered, but how can it be well considered when it has that economic impact, the human impact, and the pressure it puts on the farming community? It undermines food security at a time of global insecurity, and it is wrong on so many levels. I've been in Parliament this morning with Labour MPs, We'll be back in Parliament this afternoon, seeing more MPs. We've met over 400 MPs since the 30th of October. The pressure out here creates the pressure in there that we all need to work together. And we should celebrate a united industry, standing here, putting our best foot forward to try and get the changes that we need and to try and get the voices of farming heard. We've had over 145,000 members of the public sign the official petition. Over 275,000 members of the public sign the NFU petition. Public support and a united industry is what will put the pressure on our politicians. And we must think about that as we decide on the next steps that anybody is planning on taking as we continue to build the pressure through this campaign. We must keep the public on side at every step that we take. We cannot and we will not take their support for granted, and it's absolutely essential that every one of us here takes that responsibility seriously. Whether you're an NFU member or not, every meeting we go into, every meeting I go into, stood here with the presidents of Ulster, Scotland and Wales, we carry your weight on our shoulders. We take you into those rooms with us, and we will fight every day until we get the outcome that we need that mitigates the disastrous impact of the proposals that we've seen in the budget. And we recognise that the challenges go far wider than inheritance tax. But the one change that Sir Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves can make today that make this better is to consult or stop the proposals around inheritance tax. And we will continue to fight that until they finally listen. Thank you very much for your support. We'll continue to fight on your behalf. Thank you.
Come, another round of applause for Tom Bradshaw from the NFU. So we've got a great lineup of guest speakers today. If he's ready, I want to introduce our next guest. It's the one and only Gareth Wyn Jones.
Rhonda, we love you too. Believe it or not, he's tall, Tom. I came in this morning for the third time, and let me tell you, I do not want to be in London. And it is an amazing, amazing turnout. All the tractors and everybody that's turned up to teach these fools a lesson on how important food is. But I'm going to give you 2 minutes of my time and 2 minutes of this wonderful lady that I met this morning who's going to tell you her story. This is Caroline Martin.
Thank you, Gareth. So my story is not much different to most of yours out there. I married a fifth-generation farmer. I'm a farmer's daughter myself, originally from Devon. I live in Surrey now on an average-sized arable farm. My husband passed away 18 months ago, and since then he enabled me to carry on the farm, which I am doing. So, Mr. Starmer and Rachel Reeves, this is not a make-believe story, this is real. I've got 2 daughters. I am going to continue carry on my farm as well as I can with the great support I have around me. I would like to leave the farm for my daughters at least to have the choice to continue to farm it. If this ruling goes in, there is no question that my daughters will have to sell a big part of the farm in order to pay the inheritance tax. And I know that my late husband did not farm his farm before him and before his parents, his great-grandparents were farmers. He didn't do all of that to give it to you. And we should not be supporting the loss of all that independence. We don't just farm, we enable the public to engage with us. We have a farm that is crisscrossed by footpaths. I welcome footpath users, but the government don't support us in any of that. So I'm here just to say that this story's real, and if the government are allowed to continue on this route, there will be no 6th generation farming in my family. It's as simple as that.
Your hands together. Thank you, Caroline. Now this is what makes me angry, and there is farmers, mothers, grandfathers in this audience that are in exactly the same position as Caroline. We are here to fight for an industry that deserves a voice. These people need to listen. Listen to the people that are feeding them every single day. I went to the Churchill Museum yesterday. I'm sure Mr. Churchill is turning in his grave. They dug for victory. They protected the farmers that kept these cities fed. They've forgotten what we do for them. And we will not back down. We are strong. And we will keep going, believe me, till the last breath in my body. My father's 88, and he hasn't worked all his life the same as mine to give it away to other countries so they can produce food, to bring it back into this country, to challenge us. Millions are sent abroad. Millions. Charity starts at home. And we need to get the message over to government that they need to protect the countryside and the people that are producing food before this country goes hungry. Let's build a better Britain on our bellies. Let's have a farming food revolution. I'm proud to be one small part of this massive, massive cog we are. We hunt, we shoot, we fish, we farm, we produce food. Let's have some respect. Let's have these people listening to what we have to say before it's too late. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much. Keep up that fight. Love you all.
Come on, another round of applause for Gareth there. I don't think I've seen so many tractors in one place, so fair play to every single one of you who's brought a tractor down today. Absolutely fantastic. So give yourselves a round of applause. Our next speaker is a food poverty campaigner. Please give it up for Dominic Waters.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me? Okay, so I scribbled down some notes, and I was kind of like, I was nervous coming here because, like, in no way am I a farmer. Like, in fact, I don't even have a garden. So yeah, I'm a single dad for my amazing daughter, and we live in the most deprived blocks on our council estate. And here, where we live, our access to fresh food is completely overlooked. And the shop on the estate that we live on, it sells nothing fresh. I scribbled some notes, I'm going to try and use them. But yeah, so the fact that there's nothing fresh in our estate, one, it impacts our community, but also this makes it a food desert in the Garden of England. And a couple of weeks ago, I was asked to like speak on a panel for the Oxford Farming Conference, which is the first time I've ever like spoke to farmers. And the panel was focused on how food connects people. But I chose to speak about how food can disconnect people. So at the posh dinner, that was the night before I spoke, I didn't know like what knife or fork to use or spoon, and yeah, the starter looked more like a dessert to me. And these are just small things, but actually they speak to the distance that we experience between class, culture, and like social possibilities. And in this way, food is way more than just what you eat. Recently, or like last week, I designed the 4 pillars of food insecurity, which is like a reimagining of the United Nations 4 pillars of security, because we don't experience security in my estate. So I reimagined that. And really the four pillars are a reflection of a disproportionate expectation of resilience in my council estate. And these 4 pictures that symbolize a deep divide between the experiences of the poor and the powerful. And I should say that, oh yeah, the minister, as I said to Ollie and Liz, the Minister for Food Security, Daniel, shout you out, he quoted my 4 pillars or 4 pictures in the House of Commons last week. But yeah, it really shows you that where we come from isn't a herd community. And what I go through to put fresh, hot food, as we're on pay-as-you-go gas and electric, on my daughter's table is a lot different than, say, what Keir Starmer goes through to put hot, fresh food on his children's table. So I'm here today, thank you. So yeah, I'm here today and I'm grateful to be here, but I'm here today kind of like, what am I asking? So, I don't know, like I started a GoFundMe also last week, and like in a week we got to like nearly £1,000. But I think that our share, and this is exclusive, like I have a little following, but this is exclusive. I want to take over, not take over, that sounds too dramatic, but I want to raise enough funds to lease the shop in my council estate for a couple of years and reach out to my now farmer people to kind of like bring in the fresh meat, chicken and vegetables. Because then that would actually like make you guys, like with collaboration with me, someone actually from there would make like a real difference in a really unheard, disadvantaged community, be able to flourish. Thank you. Yeah, I want to say like with your guys like input, with the University of Southampton School of Geography, with their expertise that are like guiding me, I think it can happen. And I'm speaking from a place of hope, from a place of being forgotten, speaking of a place of trying to speak up for my neighbours. But yeah, thank you to Ollie, thank you to Save British Farming. Yeah, and God bless you all. Dominic Waters, please.
Come on, another big round of applause for Dominic. It's not easy coming up here, speaking. I know myself, I'm shivering a little bit. A lot of eyes on everybody. Next up, we have Ollie Fletcher. You might know him from YouTube, historian, farmer. Take it away, Ollie.
Hello. I just want to make it really clear how much we appreciate people like Dominic being here, because we are here as a community, but also as a minority. And I think it is so important that we create links with other people who have the same interests we do. Growing up, I live on a small dairy farm. Oh, he's here now. That's so beautiful. There is, but this is why we do what we do. When I was growing up, we milked 100 cows, quite often with no money at all. I hope my mother won't mind me saying this, but the carpet we had in our kitchen, she pulled out of a skip and then cut to size with a little scalpel knife, right? We were skint, but the reason that we put up with that was because we believed that what we are doing was of great social utility to people like Dominic. So it is imperative that we create links between ourselves and them. You clap if you like. The point I want to make today is a very simple one, which is that I do not believe that what the Labour Party are doing at the minute is aligned with their own principles. The agricultural transition is wrong. The Labour Party gave us the cheap food policy after the war that helped us as workers own the means of production, which sounds frightfully left-wing. But as well as that, it ensured cheap, nutritious food for the urban working class. And we believe in that, which is why we stick up and keep working despite all of the stuff we have to deal with. That is the post-war settlement. And now we are here fighting against the very party that gave us those things, because the Labour Party have forgotten what left-wing agrarian policies look like. So I would like to invite the Labour Party politely to come to the table to talk to us. We understand our land and our animals and our machines. We understand our industry, and we know what is in the national interest, and that is to save British farming. So when you all go home, do not give up the fight. Hold on, keep working. I know it's a struggle, but we can win this. We know that we are right, and what the government are doing now is unsustainable. Climate change, if there is not a war, means that we will need to produce our own food. If they destroy us, they will learn the hard way, as they did in the First World War, as they did in the Second World War, that they need us. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for Ollie there. I don't know why they've got me doing this, but the next speaker, please give it up for Gavin Lane from the CLA.
Can you hear me? Thank you. And thank you all for coming. I was walking down here a few minutes ago and I was reminded, as Ollie said, about history. You probably remember that a long time ago they used to tax windows. And I was just looking around here thinking, actually, you could make a few bob out of a window tax and maybe leave us lot alone. What I was going to say is that the government told us, first of all, they weren't going to change APR. They came to our conference, they said they weren't going to do it. Then they told us that we weren't telling the truth about the figures, and we proved that we were. And now they believe that we are not going away. And I can guarantee to you, and I can see you here, we're going to keep on coming back, we're going to keep on making a noise, and we're going to get this changed, because that's what we've got to do. This isn't about the money, necessarily. We are all here because we want to protect our assets. This is not personal wealth, these are business assets that they want to tax. We want to provide clean water, good food, we want to provide for the environment, we want to go and do all the things they want us to do, but we can't do this with this tax hanging over all of our businesses. And so we will keep on fighting and we will get this changed. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Tim Chambers. He's a fruit farmer from Kent. Please take it away, Tim, if you use this microphone here.
Welcome to London, everybody. I'm a fruit farmer from Kent. Been farming in the same village for about 400 years. People say we should get out more, but it's quite nice where we are. It's lovely to see so many people here today. It's my birthday, in fact. And I know thank you. I'm only 21, but it's a hard life. I put an advert out on Facebook, but I didn't expect you all to come. I really didn't think I was that popular. But anyway, seriously, it's great to be here, but It's exhilarating and also a little bit disappointing that to get us all here in London, we've had to come to fight government policy. Government policy which is going to threaten our livelihoods. It's not a great place to be. However, I just put my glasses on because I've forgotten what I'm going to write down. Whether it's the latest environmental scheme, onerous plan consents, endless audits, or the latest edict on net zero. Sorry. These are all adding costs to our business. Costs that we can't get back from the markets. We seem to struggle to get the prices we need to run our businesses. Farming is a bit like being in a casino. It's difficult to earn your money. I grow fruit for a living, and that's like playing Russian roulette with a machine gun. You just can't seem to get the money out of the markets to justify what you do, and it's getting worse. There's so many risks in the industry. Most of us are only surviving because we get subsidy. And the subsidy is like the heroin of agricultural policy. We expect it to be grateful for it. And to get off the subsidy, we have to negotiate better prices in the markets. But how can we do that when we're hamstrung with government policy? How can we do that when free trade negotiations start bringing food into our country from nations which do not restrict their farming with policy and onerous audits? How can we compete with that food? Yet, they still want to squeeze us. Yet, they add more cost to us. IHT coming in is just going to be another cost on our bottom line. How are we going to get that back? Subsidy, they say. 4.8 billion or 5 billion, they say, in 2 years. That's the equivalent of about 8 pence per person for every man, woman and child in this country. That's just not enough. So they're cutting back subsidy and increasing our costs. I don't think they're listening. I mean, Rachel Reeves apparently was in customer complaints. I think she's meant to listen, I gather. However, do not be despondent. You always have to be optimistic in this game. That's why we're still here. It's because we are optimistic. It's because we don't give up. The government have 3 huge problems. Firstly, they cannot put up with food inflation. Food inflation is they're petrified of. They don't want to see costs going through to the customers. Secondly, self-sufficiency, food security. Even though we have free trade agreements, there are red lines in that. We cannot outsource all our food security to third-party nations. And then, of course, there's the voter. The government rely on votes, and the public are with us. Every cost they push onto us has to be met with price rises or inputs and savings. And it's physically impossible now to get money from farming. It's not there to take. Even if the government does not listen to us, the markets will. So far, we've been willing to sacrifice profit, standards of living of ourselves, because we've passed on our farms with zero inheritance tax. We're not going to continue doing that. If we have to pay more, we have to charge more. Food inflation is coming down the line. Irrespective of government policy, changes to our industry have always been running. For 400 or 500 years, we've been changing to whatever the country needs, whether we need to produce more or less. We have to be resilient. We have to change with the times. Continuing as we are is not really an option. Future generations will not make the sacrifices we've made. We need to embrace new technology, encourage young talent into farming, excel in our quality and repay the public for the faith they've shown in us. Don't forget who you are. Turn the frustration and anger and despondency that you feel with the current government into positive energy. Take the fight to them and bring the public on the journey. Never forget you are resourceful, resilient, you are great British farmers, and I'm proud to be here today. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Tim there. Okay, so next up we have a speaker from the Countryside Alliance. Please give it up for Mo Metcalf-Fisher.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? Do you think that Rachel Reeves is listening? Is Keir Starmer listening? Well, then they better hear from us now. I'm going to share some words with you today, and I'm not going to put on a voice. And I want you to see if you remember who said these words, and I'll forgive you if you don't. It feels like a lifetime ago. I want everyone living in the countryside to know that I am determined to roll up my sleeves and restore that bond of respect between politics and people. Who do you think said that? Keir Starmer himself, our Prime Minister. Doesn't that sound like a completely missed opportunity? An opportunity to reset relationships with the farming community and the countryside as a whole. Instead, farmers are here now, when they want to be in the fields and working to produce food, to protect and enhance our beautiful countryside. The countryside that this great city, myself included as a resident here, get to go out, look at and enjoy. It's because of farming that it looks the beautiful place that it does. Thousands of you, hand it to the farmers, thousands of you across the country have joined with other farmers to take part in peaceful demonstrations, and you've been greeted by crowds, people made up from all walks of life, standing together with you to cheer you on, farmers, in this, your hour of need. And I want to thank the public. Poll after poll shows that the public side with farmers in this fight and not with the government. They stand with their farmers and they are going nowhere. And it isn't just the public, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, or the countryside. It's Labour's own voters. And if they won't listen to us, I hope that they listen to them. This issue has united so many of us. We've had over 30 town halls in this country, Suffolk, Cornwall, Northumberland and Norfolk, representing millions of people voting through motions to say no to the family farm tax. The media, the great British media from left to right, have issued thousands of stories about the devastating impact that this tax is going to have on innocent farming families. And I want to say a particular thanks to the Daily Express, who has run a superb but heartbreaking Save the Family Farms crusade. Their very own front page today, talking about the heartbreaking situation that so many people here find themselves in now. And farmers did not ask for this fight, but they're not going to back down. And despite all of the warnings, be it from the media, the political opposition, our community, they still won't listen, even when they're reminded about the importance of food security and how this policy, this budget, undermines food security. The most basic job of any government in any country in the world is to get that issue right. And this government so far are throwing that away. Now is the time for the government to listen, to get the NFU, the CLA, the Countryside Alliance, all of the other people and groups represented here around the table to find a way out of the mess. No more puerile, petty politics. We need action and adults. Now, before I came here today, I went on GB News, another fantastic channel, by the way, who have done a huge amount to represent the farming community in this difficult time. And I was up against a former Labour spokesman. And I wound him up a bit. And I let him do the talking. And at the end of that interview, he said, if you can't afford to make the payments, then why don't you just sell up now? The mask dropped, ladies and gentlemen. It dropped. You can find it on Twitter, share it, because that's what they're trying to pretend isn't the reasoning behind this. And I'll say to you all, and thank you everybody, you look freezing, but this is actually exotic for a lot of farmers, this weather. And I don't know how many more times we're going to have to come to London. But I hope that whatever happens, you all stay and stand by us and stand by our farming community. Thank you so much, and keep fighting. Britain is with you. Thank you.
Come on, another round of applause for Mo Metcalf-Fisher there. So, we've got a couple more speeches, a couple more people to come up and speak. The next person, I can't believe I'm reading this right. She's a future 9th generation Leicestershire farmer. Please give it up for Jess Sharp.
Thank you. My name is Jessica Sharp. Thank you. I want to share with you today how the impact of the inheritance tax and the government's actions will affect me and the rest of my generation. I've always dreamed of studying agriculture and taking over my family farm one day. Although now I have to question this. 4 months ago, my career plan was to go to an agricultural college. Although now, due to the 101 different ways the government are screwing farmers over, I've had to change my path at such a young age to A-levels due to the uncertainty that now lays within the future of farming. But I am certain I am still an upcoming farmer, no matter the boundaries. I've grown up surrounded by the hard work and dedication of farmers, watching my dad and grandparents work long, long hours, late into the night, early mornings, every day, every weekend. They don't get weekends off. They don't get Christmas off. They work every single day. For me, it's not just about inheriting some land. It's the continuation of this legacy, the hard work that my ancestors have put into the farm. To work such long hours, but often not much money, you definitely need to have an attachment and passion towards the land. We never really own the land. We are just the custodians until we pass it on. But lately, it feels like the government have been making it increasingly difficult for farmers to continue their vital work. Whether it's inheritance tax, the subsidy cuts, undermining UK agriculture, substandard imports, the US trade deal, the list could go on. Thank you. How are we supposed to carry on the legacy of our parents and grandparents when we are constantly up against a system that seems to break us? The government continues to impose rules that punish the very people who have dedicated their lives to feeding the nation. They don't see the years of back-breaking work, the early mornings, the sleepless nights. They only see a number on a valuation of the assets. It's becoming clear that the system is stacked up against us, and it's time for this to change. How can we continue to care for the land and stay in the community when the odds are constantly being stacked higher? Who is it that steps in when towns and villages are flooded, when snow blocks the road, or when trees fall, without asking for anything in return? It's us, the farmers. Time and time again, we put in our hard work for the benefit of our community and the environment, but our efforts often go unnoticed by the government. But we continue to do it because it's the right thing to do. And there is still no job better and more important than the one rooted within the land. There are many opportunities for our generation to get involved with farming and make it something new. Technology, innovative farming practices, all with a focus on sustainability. So we, the younger generation, should still take this chance to be a part of this amazing industry. Young people should still embrace farming. It offers a chance to do something that truly matters. Farming isn't easy, but it's a job that gives back more than it asks. For those of you who are thinking about taking over the family farm, I strongly encourage you to do so. as although the financial barriers are now even tougher, farming is still worthy of existence. Let's show this government the future of farming depends on us. If we don't step up, the land that farmers have worked so hard to care for shall be lost forever. Thank you.
Come on, another big round of applause for Jess Sharp there. She nailed it. So we're going to hear from another farmer now. If you put your hands together once again, this is for Sally Field from Sussex. Take it away, Sally.
Hello everyone, I don't actually know how I followed Jess, and I apologise now. My speech was written in haste yesterday, and I'm sure I'm going to repeat a few of the things that have already been covered today. But wow, what an audience, what a day. I feel very privileged and honoured to be part of the farming community and stand in front of you and see all these tractors. It's just amazing. But firstly, I'd like to say that I think you all deserve a massive pat on the back today for coming to London, giving up a day's work and standing here united to try and make a difference and make this government listen and understand to what we're all here for and what we want to achieve. If things were different, we wouldn't be here, would we? Labour has no comprehension of the stress and the ongoing mental anxiety that they are causing to our unique way of life and farming. My name's Sally Field. I'm not a rebel, I'm not a blogger, I'm not a TikToker. I'm just a farmer's daughter with a massive passion for farming and the farming community and the way of life. We are fourth generation farmers of the Duke of Norfolk and Arundel in West Sussex. We're just a normal family. It's running a small dairy farm. I don't take a wage from the farm, nor does my brother. You maybe think we're bloody idiots for not doing that, and why do I get up at 5:30 every morning to help milk the cows? It's because we care about the land we farm, we love our animals, proud to be part of a unique industry, and it makes us help to provide food for the nation. For over 20 years, I've been very fortunate to work with 2 farming charities and been honoured to work alongside the most amazing, generous-hearted and resilient bunch of people. During this time, I thought pride was the biggest barrier to the farmers because they never want to ask for help. But now I realise this government is our biggest barrier at this point in time. After an aneurysm horribilis year in 2022 and my brother wanted to jack it in, I started helping back at home as I was not letting our farm disappear lightly. This is very much more than just IHT. It probably won't affect us as a small dairy farm because we're not bigger and clever enough to be in that bracket. To coin a phrase, this is the final straw. This has been the catalyst for us all to come together and be united and make this government sit up and listen and understand what we do. We need to be valued and paid correctly for the hard work and services we provide. Sorry, my hands are cold. The public have been amazing on the way here today as I came up with my son George in his tractor, but the connection between the farmers and their landscape is massively undervalued. It's just taken for granted. If folk want to walk, cycle, ride and enjoy the countryside, and for it to continue looking the way it does, there's a value. They seem to appreciate it during COVID, but that seems to have been forgotten. Generations of farming families have maintained and created that landscape, which is going to be lost to houses, wacky environmental schemes, wind farms, and we will all be eating low-standard imported food if this government gets its way. They even want to stop our cows farting, but then large businesses can carbon offset by buying up decent farmland just to fudge their own goalposts, which is disgusting. Once this land is... Thank you. Once this land is gone, it will never come back into food production. It's a finite resource. History and past world wars show how farmers fed the nation, and we must not forget this. History, repeats itself. But sadly, this government does not appear to want to understand or want to listen to any of this, does it? Their knowledge is based on inaccurate information, lies, and generated for their own purposes and gain by folks sitting behind a desk with zero or limited empathy, connection, or understanding of our industry. Each week we hear another grand policy statement on what good they're doing for our economy, and to be honest, the hole just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. As we know, farming is not 9 to 5, it's a way of life, and many folk haven't got the time, energy, resources to be here today, as at home feeding their cattle or sheep, milking this afternoon, or caring for sick, young or elderly family members. To sacrifice a day's wage is too much to ask for many when you haven't had your stewardship money and the bank is on your back. Please think about your neighbours, pop around and say hello and check in with them. On a personal note, for our family, I'd like to thank Ollie for being a catalyst back in November for coming to London on his voucher tractor. He has invigorated and connected with many West Sussex farmers that now will help and support each other going forward way beyond Starmer's reign. Please don't go it alone with any of your worries and problems, whether it's financial, personal. There are people out there that are willing to help, listen and support, and there's always a solution. We're not related, actually. I'm his auntie. There's nothing to be ashamed of by putting your head above the parapet and asking for help. Finally, we will overcome these difficulties by being united and working together, whether on a local or national level with the NFU, TFA, CLA, and drawing on each other's strengths. Work behind the scenes is as important as standing here today. Just remember, no one is bigger and better than anybody else. Please, please drive safely home, and more importantly, look after each other.
Come on, another big round of applause for Sally Field. We're going to hear from one more farmer, and then we've got a very special young guest coming on. So please, in the meantime, give it up for Andrew Gibson from Canterbury.
Hello, thanks very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. So it was a year ago, me and my brother led 30 tractors down to Dover. We were just pissed off with everything to do with farming. All these government policies. We were 30 farmers, 30 tractors. We went down there. Now look at us today. 1,200 tractors here today. Thank you very much for turning up. These people do not understand our connection with our land. Our blood, our sweat, our tears are in that land. We want to feed them. We want to do our best. Leave us alone. Let us produce your food. We just want to be left alone to do that. We are the very best in the world at it. Please, just leave us. Thank you very much. I won't be very long. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Come on, another round of applause. All these speakers are doing so well. It's so great to hear from so many people and see all of you out there. It's absolutely fantastic. We really are stronger together. So we've got a very special guest here. We've got a young lad, Bobby. Bobby, come on stage. Please give Bobby a round of applause. It takes a lot of guts to come up here. So, Bobby, a few questions for you. How old are you?
10.
You're 10, and where are you from?
I'm from Kent, Tunbridge Wells.
Lovely. Right, so, are your family farmers? Does your dad farm?
Yes, we grow a lot of grass. We do sell haylage.
That's really good. And how many tractors have you got? Quite a few?
3. We bought a 6S, but second hand it breaks a lot. It breaks out a lot.
That's great. Now, are you worried about all these changes with the inheritance tax that the government are imposing?
Yes, I want to be a dairy farmer, I do, but this might not happen because Keir Starmer's with this inheritance tax, and it's a debate tonight, and hopefully it will stop. If it doesn't stop, we'll keep protesting, and hopefully it will stop.
That's great. That is so great. So one last question. You've already said this, Bobby, but one last question for everybody here. What do you want to be when you are older?
A dairy farmer. I like to work around silage. I like to be around cows. We have 13 cows, we do.
That's great. Come on, give it a big round of applause for Bobby. That's great. That's what it's all about. Well done, buddy. Right, Liz is going to come back up on stage now.
We've got a bit of time, and so I'm forcing the team to come on stage here. I just want you to know that whilst I am the gobby one, there is another team here that work hard behind the scenes. So come on, guys. Come on, stop being bloody shy. It takes a lot for these guys to put up with one very fiery, feisty woman. And we've had some stressful times in the last couple of weeks. We spent a lot of time on Zoom. We haven't spent a lot of time, enough time, or any time, drinking. And tonight, we hopefully will make up for that. But I want to say to this team, thank you. I know I've probably been a bit stressed. And honestly, I couldn't have done it without them. You wouldn't be here without them, and we wouldn't be here right now if you guys hadn't played your part, as I said before. So, for those who haven't spoken yet, you know Ollie Fletcher. You've heard of Ollie Field, but he's shy. I'm going to make him say a few words.
Guys, it's all right, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I think enough's been said, to be honest. It's a long road, and hopefully we can keep this up and keep punching hard. So thank you very much for all of you for being here.
Next, we have farmer and wholesaler David Catt from Kent.
Thank you very much, everybody. Honestly, it brings tears to your eyes to see how much of our industry is here today. From all over the country, guys from Devon, guys from Dorset, Yorkshire, Leicestershire, all over the country. I'm just so proud to be a farmer and have people like you working alongside me. This is make these politicians understand where we're coming from, why we're here, and what we want. Let's keep going. Thank you.
Next, I give you Simon Orson from Leicestershire.
Thank you very much, much appreciated. Thank you to everyone, especially those from Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire who have made the trip down, even Mick. No, thank you very much. It's very important we all stand together, but it's also important that we have a good laugh throughout, and that's what the rest of the day's for. Thank you.
Next, we have Matt Cullen, who is absolutely brilliant at logistics, which is really fortunate because I'm terrible at logistics. And Matt is from Kent.
Hello, everybody. Just want to say a massive thank you from the bottom of our heart. We never thought we would achieve the numbers we've got here today in tractors from what we did in December. And it has been shocking to the amount that has turned up. The actual rough true figures, give or take a few, which we are still counting, we are virtually close to 1,400 tractors here today in Whitehall. That is something that every one single farmer out there should be absolutely proud of today, that you've made the journey here. So thank you ever so much. Have a good, safe journey home with your tractors, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
And next we have Douglas Turner from Berkshire.
Hello, thanks for all the guys that come up from Berkshire this morning. A lot of them started to arrive at our farm on Thursday. I hope my voice is coming across okay. I tried to book a speech coach on Christmas Eve, but she was busy, so I went online and she was available and it was a lot cheaper. But no, thank you all. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for us, we wouldn't be here. We think they may be listening. Whether they take any notice, we don't know. But don't forget, with the British, safe British farming, and nobody farms it better.
And finally, Simon Broad from Kent.
Well, as end of the line, there's not really much more I can say other than just thank you to everyone here for coming and supporting it. Thank you for people who've come in your tractors. Thank you for people who've come on foot. It's just quite really humbling to look out at everyone here and just all your support. But keep going, everyone. We will win this fight. We will get them to see reason at some point. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone. And we're going to let Nick and Dad do his song again. And I want to see you dancing. Come on. Let's get it going.
I'll use that one.